Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so right now, literally at this very second, there's an incredible biological action movie playing out inside you. Every single day, your body is a literal battleground facing off against this unseen army of microbes, viruses, and foreign invaders. It's wild. So today we're going to break down exactly how your body defends itself, step by step and cell by cell. I want you to just imagine for a second a microscopic invasion force somehow bypassing your outer walls. What actually happens next? Like, how does your body even know it's under attack? And what triggers the ultimate defense mechanism to keep you alive? Well, the answer lies in two highly coordinated, deeply fascinating systems that work together to basically identify, engage, and totally destroy the enemy. Now, what's really interesting here is how our body relies on two distinct defenders. First, representing our innate immunity, we've got a rapid, non-specific response. This is pre-existing, meaning it acts immediately or at least within the first 12 to 24 hours of an infection. It attacks the common features of microbes, but here's the catch. It has zero memory. Every time it fights a bug, it's like it's the very first time. Then, on the flip side, we have adaptive immunity. This kicks in when the innate defenses just aren't enough. It's slower to start, usually acting after about a day, but it is highly, highly specific. And its ultimate superpower? It generates a permanent memory of the pathogen for future protection. All right, let's dive into the first phase, the breach, your body's perimeter defenses. So before any actual cellular combat begins, these invaders have to get past your outer walls. Your skin and mucous membranes form this solid, elastic physical barrier. But it's definitely not just a passive wall, it's honestly a chemical minefield. Your skin actually maintains an acidic pH that acts as a bacteriostatic environment, literally impairing the ability of microbes to replicate. Then you've got enzymes like lysozyme, which are found in your tears and saliva, and these directly break down the protective polysaccharides of bacteria. You also secrete defensins, which physically puncture and permeabilize the membranes of invading viruses and gram-negative bacteria. And finally, there's microbial competition, or antibiosis. The good bacteria living on your skin naturally crowd out the harmful pathogens, totally denying them the space they need to set up camp. Moving on to what happens when they do get through. The skirmish. Enter the rapid responders. Now, it's absolutely fascinating to look at the family tree of our defenders. Just think about how every single immune cell originates from multipotential hematopoietic stem cells located right inside your bone marrow. From there, they split into two main lineages. You've got the common myeloid progenitor, which pumps out our rapid response innate cells like neutrophils and macrophages. And then you have the common lymphoid progenitor, which gives rise to our natural killer cells and our highly specialized T and B lymphocytes. Okay, so when an infection starts, the very first troops to arrive are the neutrophils. And get this, your body creates a staggering 100 billion of these mature neutrophils every single day. 100 billion. They are essentially the kamikaze infantry of your innate immune system. They have a really short lifespan, sometimes just 6 hours, and they literally sacrifice themselves to protect you. When they encounter pathogens, they undergo degranulation, basically releasing highly toxic contents all over the battlefield. And even more amazingly, they can cast out neutrophil extracellular traps or nets. Think of it kind of like a microscopic Spider-Man effect, where they cast out a literal physical web to ensnare and neutralize the bacteria. How cool is that? Right after the quick and valiant work of the neutrophils, the heavy cleanup crew shows up. Monocytes migrate from the bloodstream into your tissues, where they morph into much larger cells called macrophages. At first, macrophages act as heavy lifters and scavengers. They phagocytize, or simply put, eat bacteria, old red blood cells, and all that debris left behind by the neutrophils. But wait, they aren't just garbage collectors. They instantly transform into vital intelligence agents. As antigen-presenting sentinels, they gather crucial evidence of the pathogen to show to the rest of the immune system. Now, alongside those macrophages, we have natural killer, or NK cells. These are large, granular lymphocytes that patrol your tissues, constantly looking for trouble. Unlike other cells that literally need to be introduced to an enemy first, NK cells are roaming assassins. They can detect and directly eliminate abnormal, stressed, infected, or mutated cells instantly without any prior sensitization. They just release cytotoxic molecules and rapidly secrete signals that push the whole immune response forward. Let's look at how this builds over time, because this ticking clock sequence really shows just how fast your innate system escalates things. At exactly 0 minutes, pre-existing molecules are immediately activated the second they detect a microbe. Within 1 to 2 hours, the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels activate. They dilate the vessels, which causes the tissue to swell, making it way easier for immune cells to enter. By 4 to 6 hours, those neutrophils and macrophages are just pouring from your blood onto the battlefield. And by 12 hours, chemical signals trigger an acute phase response in your liver, producing proteins that dramatically enhance microbial clearance. It is a crazy fast, highly orchestrated physiological response. Next up, intelligence gathering, passing signals up the chain of command. So when the innate response realizes it can't win the battle entirely on its own, it calls in the cavalry using chemical messengers called cytokines. You can think of cytokines as the radio signals of the immune system. They're short-lived, highly regulated proteins that basically tell other cells what to do. Within this group, we have interleukins, which specifically allow white blood cells to talk to one another, telling them to activate, multiply, or sometimes just stand down. We also have chemokines, which act like a cellular GPS signal, directing the physical migration of immune cells straight to the site of the infection. Now, alongside those chemical radio signals, the immune system needs visual proof of the enemy. This is where the major histocompatibility complex, or in humans, the HLA system, comes into play. When a macrophage or a dendritic cell eats a pathogen, it shreds it into tiny peptide pieces. It then loads those pieces onto HLA molecules and pushes them right up to the surface of the cell. It's literally like holding up a mugshot of the invader. This is an absolutely critical step because the highly specialized T cells of the adaptive immune system, they will only engage if they are shown this exact HLA peptide mugshot. All right, moving on to phase 3, the immune training grounds, where the special forces prepare. So, you might be wondering, where exactly are these adaptive special forces waiting? Well, they're right here in your primary and secondary lymphoid organs. The bone marrow acts as the birthplace, generating all blood cells and serving as the environment where B cells mature. The thymus, which is located just behind your sternum, is basically the boot camp for T cells. And this is a really rigorous environment where T cells actually undergo death by neglect or apoptosis if they fail to recognize antigens, or if they react too strongly against your own body's cells. This is absolutely crucial for preventing autoimmune diseases. Once they survive this training, these naive cells move to secondary organs like the lymph nodes and the spleen, just waiting to encounter their specific target. And now for the main event, the counterstrike unleashing the adaptive immune system. Okay, so the intelligence has been passed, the troops are trained, it's time to unleash the adaptive immune system. Let's start with the humoral response, which is mediated by B lymphocytes. Your body produces 10 million brand new, naive B cells every single day. What makes B cells so unique is that they don't actually need a mugshot. Their receptors can bind directly to the native intact enemy in its natural state. Once a B cell recognizes its specific target and gets the green light from a helper cell, it transforms. It drops its normal shape and turns into a plasma cell. These plasma cells are essentially biological factories. They migrate back to your bone marrow and just begin pumping out massive quantities of customized, highly targeted antibodies that flood your bloodstream to neutralize the pathogen. While B cells attack from a distance using those antibodies, T lymphocytes are your close combat specialists and battlefield commanders. Each individual T cell expresses roughly 100,000 identical receptors on its surface, and every single one of those receptors is specific to just one unique antigen. When they finally see the HLA mugshot they've been waiting for, they activate. The CD4 plus T cells become the T helper cells, acting as the ground commanders by secreting cytokines to coordinate the entire battle, while the CD8 plus T cells become the close combat assassins. Now, I absolutely love this concept, the kiss of death. It perfectly captures the dramatic, highly lethal precision of these CD8 plus cytotoxic T cells. When they find a cell in your body that's been hijacked and infected by a virus, they bind to it and deliver exactly that. They release these highly specialized molecules called perforins and granzymes directly into the infected cell. This literally creates pores right through the target cell's membrane, inducing apoptosis. It essentially forces the infected cell to self-destruct, stopping the virus from replicating dead in its tracks. Once a T or B cell recognizes its specific antigen, it undergoes a process called clonal expansion. It rapidly divides over and over, creating a massive clone army tailored entirely to that exact pathogen. But here is the ultimate superpower of the adaptive immune system. Once the battle is won and the infection is fully cleared, a fraction of those specialized cells remain behind as memory cells. These cells can persist for a lifetime, providing you with immunological memory. This means if that exact same bug ever tries to invade your body again, the response will be so incredibly fast and so overwhelming that you likely won't even feel sick. As we wrap up this explainer, just take a moment to appreciate the staggering complexity happening beneath your skin right this very second. From the physical walls, to the kamikaze neutrophils, to the lethal precision of your T cells, you literally have millions of cellular special forces fighting, dying, and memorizing invaders just to keep you alive. So, knowing you have this awe-inspiring biological machine working for you 24/7, how will you support your body's ultimate defense system today?